With you this morning, would you open them please to 2 Kings chapter 4. This morning we're concluding our series of messages on men in God's Hall of Fame, the making of champions. 2 Kings chapter 4. And let's read it together, beginning with verse 1 through verse 7. A certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets cried out to Elisha, saying, Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord. And the creditor is coming in to take my 2 sons to be his slaves. Elisha said to her, What shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? And she said, Your maidservant has nothing in the house but a jar of oil, and there's only a few drops in that. Then he said, Go borrow vessels from everywhere. Go get jugs from all your neighbors, empty jugs. Do not gather just a few. Gather as many as you can. And when you have come in, you shall shut the door behind you and your sons. And then pour it unto all the vessels. And set aside the full ones. Interesting. Verse 5. So she went from him and shut the door behind her and her sons. Brought the vessels to her, and she poured it out. Now it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said to her son, Bring me another vessel. And he said to her, There is not another vessel. We've used them all. So the oil ceased at that point. Then she came and told the man of God and said, Go sell the oil and pay your debt. And you and your sons shall have enough to live on the rest of your days. I'd like to put my preaching hat on hold for just a second and put my meddling hat on. I want to ask you some questions. I want you to answer them, not answer them for the person next to you, but I'd like you to answer them. Question number 1, are you overwhelmed by life? Are you overwhelmed by life? Is the waters of life up to your top of your lip and the bottom of your nose? Are you about to go under? For the last time, perhaps. Are you overwhelmed by life? Secondly, is there too much going on in your world? Do you wish you could get rid of a few things? Because each and every day you get up, things are just being added continually. Is there too much going on in your world? Question number 3, do you feel tired and exhausted? Helpless and hopeless? Do you feel like life is just one circular motion after motion after motion? Never seems to end. And you're tired, you're exhausted, you're worn out, helpless, hopeless. Nothing's going to change anytime soon in your mind. Are you running on empty? Physically, financially, spiritually, are you running on empty? Is your tank drip dry? Has your get up and go got up and gone? If you said yes to any of those questions, I've got some good news for you. The story I'm about to tell you is about a widow who has been there. And I'm going to tell you her story. It's a story with a happy ending. I like happy ending stories, don't you? Let's look at the story that's found in 2 Kings 4. A little background. Israel is far, far, far from God. The king on the throne is crooked as a dog's hind leg. The priests are corrupt. And the people are spiritually cold and callous. Does it sound like another country you might know? Leaders that you might know? People that you might know? That's the state of Israel and their leadership and their religion and the people of that day. A prophet has also died. The Billy Graham of that day has died. And he has left behind a wife and 2 sons. This family that is left behind, this wife and 2 sons, are poor. The prophet never had a whole lot. And he left behind even less. The widow, now responsible for the home, she's poor. Utterly poor. Her sons are poor. They have nothing as well. The only thing she does have is debts and bills. And the creditors are coming after her. And when they come, they're going to take the only thing that she does have. Her 2 boys. And that day, if you couldn't pay your debts, you couldn't pay your obligations, if you couldn't pay your bills, when they came, they had a legal right to take your family. And very soon they're going to knock on her door. And they're going to demand payment. She will not have payment. And they will take her 2 sons. They'll take them to the people auction. And they will sell them to the highest bidder, who will then turn them into slaves, among many other things, for the rest of their days. This widowed mother is desperate in 2 Kings chapter 4. You say, why don't she go to family? Because she has no family. Why don't she draw from her savings, her 401k? Because she has no savings. She has no investment instruments. Why don't she call her congressman? Because she has no congressman. The government of her day could care less about her and people like her until election day. The church will not assist her. No person, place, or thing can help her. She's what you would call depressively desperate. And she calls on Elisha. Remember, he's the prophet. He succeeded Elijah. He's God's man. He speaks for God to the leaders. He speaks to God to the priest. He speaks to God to the people. He's God's mouthpiece to whosoever will listen. And the widow calls for him. And he comes. He comes in the name of the Lord. And he comes and he asks a question. The question is simply profound, but profoundly simple. This is what he asks the widow when he arrives on her request to her house. What shall I do for you? What shall I do for you? You've called for me to come. Articulate to me. Tell me. Explain to me. What do you want me to do for you? Before she can answer, he gives her 6 orders. Order number 1, gather as many empty jugs and jars as you can find. Go next door, go down the street. Get every empty jug, get every empty jar that people will loan you, that you can find lying on the road. Get them. I want you then to bring them back to the house and close the door. Bring them back. Close the door. Line them all up in your living room. Line them all up in your kitchen. And then I want you to take the oil you got. Number 3, order. He's pretty good at giving orders. Do you know anybody like that? He says, now what I want you to do is take that jug that you have that has about that much oil in it. Just a few ounces. And I want you to fill up these jugs. And I know what she's thinking, and you know what she's thinking. This guy is a little loco. If something's wrong with him, does he not understand I've got 50 jars here? I've got 50 jugs here. And he wants me to take that little bit of oil and fill them all up. She says, okay. Full. Oh, got more. Got more. She keeps filling the jugs. Her couple of ounces of olive oil turns into multiplied gallons of olive oil. She's then to take these jars of olive oil. Remember, she only had that much to start with. And now she's got a whole house full of jugs full of olive oil. Extra virgin, cold pressed olive oil. And she takes them to the market. And the oil is of such quality that the prices that she receives are far more than just for average olive oil. She sells all the jars, she sells all the jugs. Gets top dollar, makes so much money that she now can go and pay her creditors or those that she has obligations to. And after she pays all of her debts, keeps her family together, she now has enough, according to the prophet, to take care of herself for the rest of her days, whatever those days would be. That story has a happy ending because God was in it from start to finish. And here we see in this story, our God is in time, on time, every time. Let me say that again. We see in this story, not her God, but our God too, is in time, on time, every time when we have a need. In our desperate desperation, in our depressing desperation, God is in it. And He's working all things together for the good. That's the story. As Paul Harvey says, though, there's the rest of the story. And we're going to look at the lessons that we can walk away with this morning. Because remember, in those questions I asked you earlier, if you say, that's me, and the pastor knows it's me because every time he looks at me, he's shaking his head, he knows it's me. No, I'm just looking at you. But let's learn some lessons real quick. From this widow and her situation, we learned the first lesson, and it's this, that life is full of problems. Aren't you glad you came? No charge for that one. Life is full of problems. You say, but I'm a Christian. Life is full of problems. I love Jesus. Life is full of problems. I'm going to heaven. Life is full of problems. I'm a daughter of the King. Congratulations. Life is full of problems. In this world you shall have tribulation. That's Jesus. What's tribulation is troubles. Man is born unto troubles. We have a theology that says if you're a Christian and you live for Jesus, you'll never have any problems. I've told you many times there's a Greek word for that. It's called baloney. Those of you who have lived for the Lord for many years can testify the Christian life is not easy. It's enjoyable. It's peaceful. But it's not always easy. Life is full of problems. Now, admittedly, some of the problems are little problems. We call them easy problems. They're softball problems. You have them right now, but 24 hours from now, they won't mean a thing to you. What am I talking about? A flat tire problem. After this service, you go to the parking lot, you got a flat tire. That's frustrating. That's aggravating. But in 24 hours, that tire will be fixed, you'll be on the road. So it's a problem, but it's a little problem. No big deal. When you go home, the dog is wet on your carpet. You say, wet with what? I just said he wet on your carpet. That's a problem. It's frustrating. It's aggravating. Somebody's got to clean it up. But listen, when it's done, it's done. 24 hours later, everything's fine. You got only 10 likes on your social media response. Isn't that pitiful? Only 10 likes. Woe is me, somebody don't like you. But you know something? Tomorrow's another day. Maybe you'll have 20. Maybe you'll have 30. You ordered a salad and got goat cheese. That's a problem. It'll go away after you eat the goat cheese or scrape it off and throw it away. You got a C on that test. You studied a lot for it. Got a C. That's all right. You'll have more tests, chance to make up the grade. You broke your favorite coffee cup. And coffee don't taste the same unless you got your favorite coffee cup. And now it's broke. And lo and behold, another problem. You go home this afternoon, and the Jacksonville Jaguar game is not on TV. Life is hard. It's difficult. It's full of troubles. Little ones. But some of them are big. Some of them are hard. Some of them are hardball, fast and high. Little problems will teach you patience. Big problems will teach you faith. And God is in the faith business. And if you're going through some major problems right now, God is in those problems. He may not resolve them in 24 hours. It may take days. It might take weeks. It might take months. It might take years. But He's going to teach you to trust Him. He was going to teach that widow to trust Him. She could not understand what He was going to do. She couldn't understand how He was going to do it. But He didn't say understand. He said, just trust me. Do what the prophet says. The prophet speaks for me. Whatever he tells you to do, do it. And that's what He's saying to some of you right now. I'm speaking to you. And what He says is what you do. You do what I say. What am I talking about? Problems that you might be facing right now. And you're desperate. A son addicted to crack cocaine. That's a big one. A husband cheating on his wife. That's a big one. You lost your job. That's a big one. You have cancer. That's a big one. A loved one has died tragically, and they were young. That's a big one. You go home and you got a busted pipe in your house, and your house at the bottom floor is underwater. That's a big one. Your daughter is pregnant and unmarried. That's a big one. Problems are going to come in this life. They come to a widow with 2 sons who has nothing, and they come to you and I in our desperation when we don't have nothing to handle what we're facing. And God says, trust me. I'm going to teach you about me. I'm going to teach you about yourself. You've got to trust me. Can you trust Him? You've trusted Him with your eternal soul. Can you trust Him with the things of this world that lead us into eternity? You say, Pastor, I don't have any of those problems. See me tomorrow. You might. Because things can happen very quickly in this world. And you might be high, wide, and handsome sitting in that pew right now. But tomorrow you may not be so. So there's problems. We need to know the difference between the two. Little problems teach patience. Big problems teach trust. Big problems teach us about God, teach us about ourselves. And one day we'll look back and say, He did it. Wow, what a God. He did it. I didn't think He could do it, but He did it. Lesson number 2. When we can help, we should help. The widow called for Elisha to come. And the Bible tells us he said no. I ain't coming. I got a function to go to. I got a party to go to. I got a meeting to go to. I'm sorry, I can't come. Call somebody else. He didn't do that, did he? He got word of this one who's in desperation, who's at the end of her rope, whose family is being threatened to be torn apart. He gets word and he comes. The Bible doesn't quite say he drops everything, but the implication is from the Scriptures is that he moves very quickly to get to her. You see, he was God's man, as I told you earlier. And he knows that this widow, the widow who used to be the wife of a prophet like himself, is overwhelmed. And so he takes his God-given talents, his God-given gifts, his God-given resources, his God-given blessings, and he commands her to get the vessels and fill them with oil. And as you fill them with oil and seal them, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. And 1 half-filled jar will become 50 fully filled jars to the brim. In other words, he gets involved with her situation. He helps with the talents and the gifts and the resources and the power to work miracles that God gave him. He did what he was called by God to do, and that's to get involved in people's lives. You're not here just to be another pretty face. You're not here just to do what you want to do. God has put you here, and God has put you into situations where you can make a profound difference. But you won't do it. No empty platitudes, no pious cliches, no motivational jargon, no catch-you-laters. Elisha comes and says, this is what I can do, and this is what I'm going to do. And he did it. Do you? What can we do when we see need? Overwhelming need out there. Need that is only going to increase in time. What can we do? Later. Call me next week. Too busy. Is that what we do? Do we just turn our pretty heads and walk away? What can we do? Well, what did Elisha did what he could do. He didn't do what he couldn't do. He did what he could do. And many of us are too busy making excuses for what we can't do to recognize what we can do. We can pray. Do you know that? We can pray. Sometimes that's the best thing we can do. We hear of a need. We see a need. We're involved in that need. We can pray. We can invite the Lord God to step out of His world into our world. Make Him Lord. Invite Him to come in. And invite Him to show Himself as faithful. We can also take people to the doctor who are sick. Take them to the pastor when they need counseling. Take them to get groceries maybe. Or to do this or to do that. We can fix things that are broken. Maybe God has gifted you with the ability to fix things. Because God has given every single one of us talents and gifts and resources and finances and access to things. And He wants us to use those things. Mine is different than yours. Yours is different than mine, but we all have them. And some of you have the ability to fix broken things like appliances or lawnmowers or cars. Some of us have been blessed with finances. And we could pay a bill for somebody if we had to. We could help with gas or groceries or clothing or medicine. We could offer a listening ear. Do you know what's the remarkable about the Good Samaritan story in the Bible? Is the Good Samaritan did what he could do. He didn't pass the buck on anybody. He said, there is somebody in need, this is what I can do. And he did what he could do. And God honored what he did. Elisha did what he could do. God honored what he did. And the widow was blessed by it. We can do that. The Lord works through people like you and I. The story of the feeding of the 4,000, Mark chapter 8. There was only 7 loaves and 3 fish. But the little fella brought what he had. That's all he had. And God took what he had and took the action, what he did. And over 12,000 people were fed that day. 7 loaves and 3 fish fed over 12,000 people. All because a little boy said, I can do this. And he did it. In Acts chapter 3, verse 6, there's a man who's crippled. He's outside the church of his day asking for money that he might be able to buy a meal for himself. Peter and John come up the steps leading into the church of that day. And he holds up his little cup. Maybe they'll give him a penny. Maybe they'll give him a nickel. Maybe he'll get enough to get a grilled cheese sandwich. But they didn't have that. Silver and gold have we none. We don't have any money. But sir, we're going to give you what we got. Rise and be healed in the name of Jesus. And he walked. See, they, like Elisha, had the power of God to perform miracles. And they knew it, and they gave a miracle where they could give nothing else, but they gave what they had. Acts chapter 4. The church is in need of money. And Barnabas, a man of means, steps up and gives the church a gift to enable them to get up and running and to minister to people. Barnabas gave what he had. If they would have brought a car to him and said, Barnabas, can you fix the car? He couldn't do that. But you come to Barnabas and say, we have a financial need. He could do that. Elisha did what he could do and God honored it. You and I are to do what we can do and God will honor it too. Last thing. We're to do what we can do to help. We need to understand that life is full of problems, and sometimes they'll be ours and sometimes they'll be somebody else's. Lesson number 3, and I'm through. I think we learn from this story that God is all we need. God is all we need. But you'll never know He's all you need to. He's all you have. There's 150 names for God in the Bible, in Jesus. 150 names. Might be a few more. Some might say there are a few less. But there's 150 names in the Bible where God identifies Himself to His people. You know why He does that? Because He wants us, number one, wants us to know who He is. But He also wants us to know that whatever we're going through, He is the answer. You say, Pastor, I'm right now dealing with darkness. What does He call Himself in the Word of God? Who called Himself this? He does. He says, I'm the light of the world. I can give you light in your darkness. Call upon me. You say, Pastor, I'm a captive. I'm an addict. I'm in chains of addiction. He calls Himself freedom. He can set you free. You say, I'm empty. He's the bread of life. You say, I'm lonely. He's the friend that will stick with you closer than a brother. You say, I'm hurting. He's the balm of Gilead. He's the great physician. You say, I'm afraid. He says, what are you afraid about? I'm God Almighty. I'm unstable. He says, I'm the Rock of Ages. I'm guilty. He's the Prince of Peace. I'm sad. I'm sorrowful. He's the joy unspeakable. You see, He has a name for everything that we will ever go through and face in this world. I'm gloomy. He's the blessed hope. I'm lost in my sins. He's the captain of salvation. I'm confused. He's the wonderful counselor. I'm grieving, Pastor. He's the resurrection and the life. You say, Pastor, I'm unloved, I'm unlovely, I'm a dreg of society, I'm a deplorable. He's the friend of sinners. And He's not ashamed to sit with you and identify with you. And to that widow that day, He was life abundant. You see, He meets us where we're at on this journey of life. And He wants us to trust Him that He will do what He says He will do. He doesn't say, understand this. He says, trust me. He doesn't say, I'll do it in one day. That's little stuff. But the big stuff of life, He says, I'm at work. I'm at work. And when I am ready, I will bring all of the power to bear that I have through people like this to accomplish what I'm going to do. God chooses to use people. He chooses to use you and I. And as the end grows near, the need goes up. And we need to be ready. Heads are bowed and eyes are closed.